The time change. Losing an hour of sleep last night. We are here. We are ready. We got the energy. The brackets are back. March Madness is back here in 2021. And we are ready to roll tonight on The Voice of the Land, a Big Play production here on the Big Play Network and partnered with LPV Productions. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Arnold. Alongside me, as always, across the table, my brother, Nick Paulus. You can follow him on Twitter at CLE_Paulus. And behind that proverbial glass, our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tellep. Follow him across all social media at LPV Productions. And of course, you can follow myself at KevinIn7 because, you know, I always come through when it matters most. Come through in the clutch when it matters most. We are here tonight, as we said, on the Big Play Network. You can always tune in live every Sunday at 7. A little bit of a delay tonight, but want to make sure we had everything ready to go. It is a jam-packed show. We have March Madness, NFL free agency, Brown storylines, as the NFL new league year is about to kick off this upcoming week. So wanted to make sure we had everything ready to go so that we can present the best show to all of you tuning in tonight or on replay throughout the week, or even all of the audio on Google, Spotify, Apple, or your major podcast platforms. Like I said, we are on our Twitter page right now at VTL_pod, or our Facebook page at Voice of the Land, Big Play on Facebook, or Big Play Live on YouTube, and on the Sportscaster app. Plenty of different ways to tune in to the show weekly. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't thank our sponsor, DP Construction LLC, Tyler LaFrada, Uncle Steve, and everybody over there at DP Construction LLC. Thank them so much for being our sponsor. And we'll have some more news. We have some big things upcoming, but DP Construction was the first, and they are the best. They will get all of your concrete construction needs done. Look them up on Facebook. We tell you every single week, the pictures are absolutely beautiful, and as that sun starts to shine, we get longer hours of daylight as we head into those spring and summer months. They are going to be very busy, but they will get the job done for you. You got that project around the house, that concrete construction need you have around the house. You want to get the driveway redone. You need a spot for the kids to play basketball. You just bought them a hoop, and you need a nice little spot out back to shoot some hoops. It is basketball season right now.
Damn right.
You got that right. They will get all of that stuff done for you. You can call them at 330-217-4999. That is 330-217-4999. You can also email TylerLaFrada at gmail.com, and they'll even answer your messages on Facebook, give you quotes there, and just kind of explain what they'll do. And Uncle Steve and the crew, they will get the job done for you. So thank you so much, DP Construction LLC, for sponsoring Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network. As we said, we got a big show for all of you guys. Before we get started, Peter, Paulus, either of you guys have some issues waking up this morning?
Some issues? Absolutely. I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my God, it's like, I never sleep in, okay? Never sleep in. I'm always up by 5 a.m. Just, the way my body works. I woke up this morning and it said it was 8 o'clock, and I was like, oh my God, like I missed everything. And then I had to ask my wife, Kelly. I was like, what's going on? She goes, it's daylight savings time. I was like, oh, thank God. So like, but yeah, no, it was a lot of sleep there for it. Well, I guess not that much sleep, but got that extra hour, you say that, but very, very weird. I have no idea why we still have daylight savings time. I know it was for farmers originally, like that's the whole reason behind it. But I think we don't need that anymore. Like I know this came all about, like Ben Franklin actually came up with the idea of that. And I don't know if you guys know that little history effect via National Treasure. So I love that movie. But yeah, Ben Franklin came up with the idea. So it's almost 300 years old. I don't understand why we still have it, but to each their own, I guess. So
to each their own. Peter, Tellep household, how was the time change?
Honestly, it was fine. I was a normal time, and the kids got up and they're like, "What? What's going on with the clock?" Like what's going on with the clock? But yeah, I think the reason Ben Franklin started it was because it was supposed to save like lighting oil or something like that. It was an energy saving thing,
right.
you know.
But it's pointless now.
But here's the most pointless thing: is farmers don't give a crap what the clock says.
Right, exactly.
When the sun's up,
We're not hell bent
Yeah.
on what the sun says
Yeah.
anymore.
You know,
like we're okay without it.
They're like the clock. You know, who cares what the clock says? If the sun's up and it's shining, they're out in the fields working.
That's right.
Until it goes down.
Right.
So,
yeah.
They don't care what their watch says.
Either way, they got stuff they got to get done. And
Right.
they're gonna get it done.
No doubt. No
I mean,
doubt.
Exactly.
if anything, I'd honestly rather keep this level of time rather than actually going back. I enjoy the day that we turn the clocks back because you get that extra hour of sleep.
Sure. Yeah.
But
I'm all for turning clocks back. Forward, not so much.
Right, but I like longer hours of daylight. You know, as
Sure.
long as you can get, because it sucks that first full day when you turn the clocks back.
Yeah.
And the sun starts going down, 5, 6 o'clock, and it's like, oh, I know what's coming. Winter, snow.
The worst
darn
was
it.
whenever, the clock and I don't drink much anymore, but like the worst was whenever you're at the bar and they closed an hour early because of this exact day. And you're like,
Yeah.
come on, are you serious? And then, what is it? November, October, whenever it happens before, but you have
Yeah.
that extra hour then. So that was always a fun time.
Yeah, I had to get up early anyways. I had a soccer game to coach at 8 a.m. We got the win though, so that just
There you go.
made
Get
it
the
sweeter.
dubs, that's all that matters.
And then took a little nap. So just it's been a lazy Sunday.
There you
It's
go.
been a lazy Sunday, but that's
Nothing wrong with those.
That's the
Nothing.
best. That's the best way to go. It's been a lazy Sunday full of basketball, and March Madness is coming back. So as we jump into our March Madness topic, I do want to remind everyone, if you want your Voice of the Land gear, as we will be probably doing a little bit more, possibly, of these kind of little reads during the middle of the show, but voiceoftheland.com/shop. You can get your T-shirts, your mugs, and now a hat. I still got to pick up my hat. Still got to get that so I can rock it here on the
still
show.
need the robe.
Still need a robe.
I still need a robe.
Still need a
So-
robe.
A robe.
Paulus will get you. We'll get you your robe. Don't worry.
There we go.
Don't worry. But anybody that needs gear, we do have our own shop there on voiceofland.com, or right there at the top. We got the menu. You can scroll down to where it says shop and just check out all of the products we have. We've kind of worn some of the shirts throughout the week and on the shows before. So we thank Peter for setting that up and for everything he does behind the scenes. We don't just throw around producer extraordinaire lightly on this show.
No doubt.
And we don't throw around our excitement that March Madness, some normalcy in the sports world this year, after we know what happened last year with COVID and things kind of turning the corner now, we are able to have the tournament. Yes, it's only in one location. So the names of the regions, Midwest, Southwest,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. But nonetheless, we have March Madness. We have brackets to fill out, whether you're in a bracket pool or you just want to do one just for fun.
Is this the best time of the year?
For me, it is.
Yeah.
For me, it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
I love basketball. I love college basketball. Maybe I don't start watching it as soon as I used to.
Sure.
But I mean, they start in October, November normally, and that's like the heat of college football season.
Right.
We all know as sports fans where our attention's going to lie.
I was going to say that is like, well, that's that's basically the tail end of the college football season.
Right.
But NFL is
It's
rocking. So like, I agree with you there. I don't watch me personally, I don't watch any college basketball, until honestly right around now.
Right now?
Within the last 2 weeks, I've watched more college basketball than I have all season long.
See, I'm one of those weird ones where if it's like on in
Sure.
the first games in November or even
Right.
more so December, if there's a game on, a college basketball game,
It's on. Yeah.
this guy's going to be watching it. I'm just kind of a basketball nut like
No
that.
doubt, no doubt.
I enjoy watching it, but you really see what teams are made of at this time of the year. So while you haven't seen their full season, you're making picks on all of that.
Right.
And trust me, we've told the story before. Breaking down how teams defend or shoot the three or their defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency ratings, those don't matter in bracket pools because just to harken back to the OG season of Voice of Land, I once got beat by a 7-year-old in a bracket pool because they selected based on either team colors or team mascots. I was the one opening up every single piece of info on the Yahoo or ESPN app, like, ooh, how do these teams match up? How did this break down? Oh, I think based on these percentages, this team's
Right.
going to win. No. just whatever your gut tells you, you can still win a bracket pool if you don't know how these teams have played throughout the year. But if you want to look at that way, you see a lot more about what these teams are nowadays. A team like Illinois, who Ohio State lost to in the Big Ten Championship, kudos to Illinois. That is a good team. And a valiant effort by Ohio State to come back when you could see their legs were dead.
Oh, yeah.
But Illinois is good, and we'll get into a couple of their players here soon. But it seemed like Illinois wasn't on the one line. They're a 1 seed. They're the third best team in this tournament. They are on the one of the 1 lines in this tournament, and they earned that over the last couple months. The last Ohio State beat them on the road in Illinois in January. Since that time, they've beaten, like, I want to say 9 or 10 top 10 opponents. They've won like 13 or 14 games.
Right.
They have been on a roll, and they have earned that 1 seed in this tournament. So Illinois is a dangerous team now. If you watch them their first game, that's not going to tell you the full story about Illinois. You know more about them now than you did back then.
Yeah, and if you are Ohio State, you got to feel good about yourself. I mean, they were down 17 today. At one point in time, they were down 17. They fought and they clawed their way back into that game. I tweeted out at one point in time, this Ohio State team has more heart than I've ever seen an Ohio State team have. I mean, especially with all the fighting that they've had to do over the last couple of games. Therefore, I played what 3 straight games in 3 straight days. I mean, that's tough to do. The NBA teams don't do that. So that is very tough to do. A lot of their players, Washington played out of his mind today. Had a career high, I want to say 32 points today. There for him, a just fantastic job all the way around. Now they are the 2nd seed. Going into the South region. Once again, they're all playing at the same place. It doesn't matter where they are. So really no home court advantage there for them. But they are playing against Oral Roberts. I don't think Ohio State's losing to any team named Oral. So I think we're okay there. But they are in the Baylor bracket. Okay. Yeah. So that is a very obviously, and all these number 1 seeds are tough. Yeah. You have Baylor, you have Gonzaga, who, once again, I didn't watch a whole lot of basketball today. And as we have the sheet up here for us, I didn't watch a whole lot of basketball up until the last couple of weeks. I didn't realize Gonzaga was undefeated. I knew that they were them and Baylor were the best teams out there. That's all I've heard for the last couple of months. But I had no idea that they were undefeated still. Is this the year that Gonzaga gets over the top and finally wins it all? What do you think?
I think they have a good chance. They really do. Yeah. I mean, I know that people don't like to go chalk, and there's going to be a bunch of people.
Of course.
Where's that 12-5 upset? Sure. Where's that 13-4?
Which those are real. Right. Like it happens every single year.
It happens every single year. And now that the streak was broken by, what was it, UMBC, 16-1.
Yeah, Virginia, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming all 1 seeds will move on after their first game as per usual, but it's not impossible anymore.
I mean, they are playing against App State or Norfolk, which, I mean, we've seen App State take down, top ranked people before. Now that was in football. Yeah. Michigan, you suck. But so we've seen that happen before. I don't know if Appalachian State has what it takes to take down Gonzaga, though.
Right. And Mark Few has always had Gonzaga, who was
he's fantastic.
Kind of considered like that next set of 5. It's not Power 5. I forget what they call that next set of 5. But at one time they were still kind of lumped in with the mid-majors, and those schools don't like to be called mid-majors.
Of course
but
not.
Gonzaga has become a powerhouse in college basketball. They are a basketball school. If you want to make a name for yourself, Gonzaga is one of those schools you have to look at because of how well Mark Few has done in his time there, and they have ascended to the top of the college basketball rankings. They have a NBA caliber player, a stud in Jalen Suggs, and they have one of those stretch 4s in Corey Kispert who can knock down the 3 at will. And it's just, it's team basketball. For me, when I watched Gonzaga play over these last few years, I'm just reminded of Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs from 99 through the mid 2000s, kind of that that reign that they had, they were always good. And it's a system that they allow the players to be themselves, but somehow, some way, Gonzaga is always there and always dangerous come tournament time because of how well prepared, how much their culture. Culture is something we talk about all the time on this show.
Yeah.
Gonzaga Bulldog men's college basketball culture is at another level. Just like UConn women's college basketball.
Next level.
Their culture is next level. Tennessee Volunteers for the women. You could go down the list there. There are powerhouses there. On the men's side, Gonzaga is one of them, and they are a legit #1 seed to look out for to make a deep run, if not a national championship run in this tournament.
And it's very weird to say that this year. Gonzaga has always been there, especially over the last 20, 25 years since Mark Few has been there and been the coach and established that, said culture. But even teams with established cultures, I'm talking Calipari and Kentucky and Duke, I mean, those guys aren't in it this year. And that's weird. Like there's no real blue blood that I'm like terrified of Ohio State going up against. I think Ohio State, looking at their bracket, and Peter, if we can get that up there for us, they are in the Midwest bracket, so bottom right corner of your screen there for us.
No, South region.
I'm sorry, the South region. I was looking at Cleveland State.
Don't worry. We are getting to Viking basketball.
We will get there to a Viking basketball, and that's all going to be you. But Ohio State, so top right region there for us, the South region against Oral Roberts. And then, Florida most likely, maybe Virginia Tech gets out of there. But then you're looking at maybe Texas Tech, Utah, Arkansas. I mean, all of these teams, like, it's a legitimate chance that Ohio State could easily get to not only the Sweet 16, Elite 8 maybe, and then if they got to play Baylor, I mean, you're going to see the actual, best of the best at that point in time if you're Ohio State. And you just went toe-to-toe with one of the #1 seeds, almost won the game if a couple of things would have broke your way. Had you played, had you shot, better than 1 for 10 to start off the game from 3, had you made a couple of those, that game's over.
A couple field goals.
A couple. And, they had their opportunities to get back in the game, so it wasn't all about just the first half.
Right.
They had their chances. Believe me, they had their chances. But, I mean, you got to feel good about going into this, because coming into this Big Ten bracket, you and I were tweeting about it on Twitter there for us, going, losing their previous 4 games, then coming into the Big Ten, and then winning barely the first couple of games, and then, obviously losing today. I feel better about this now than ever before, really.
Yeah, and, I mean, before we break down Ohio State, I will just mention, I said that Gonzaga is one of those teams that can make a deep run, if not a national championship run.
For sure.
On the flip side, I will not be surprised if they have an early exit, if they get upset early, because that's how wide open this tournament this year is. The Blue Bloods aren't there. The teams that get those high-ranking freshman classes, the one-and-dones, aren't really there. A lot of the teams that you see having success at the end of this season are teams with guys with experience, not necessarily senior-laden teams. Those are the mid-major squads. Those are the ones where you've built a program all 4 years. That senior class has just been progressing and progressing and progressing and earned that opportunity.
Like Dayton last year. It was last year.
Yep. Dayton was one of those. Again, they're kind of, I would say Gonzaga is that Dayton, but maybe to another
on steroids,
another level, if not more so, this year. But again, I'm not going to be surprised if top seeds, if there's a lot of craziness. I'm not going to be surprised if it's chalk or a lot of craziness. Anything can happen this year. Everybody has gotten the opportunity to play, and this tournament has the opportunity to go off. There'll be some fans, not a lot, but there'll be some. They're all centrally located there in Indiana. So the NCAA is doing things right to try to prevent what the pandemic that COVID-19 still is and the impact it's still having, but to give these kids the opportunity to play. And that's what you love about sports, and that's what gets us into it. It's those stories. I was watching Georgia Tech win the ACC championship last night.
It was great.
And their point guard, for some reason his name has escaped me because I had it. But Josh Pastner did a great job at Memphis. Moving on to Georgia Tech, their first ACC championship since, I believe, 1993. Their point guard, 5'10", he's mixing it up, getting the offensive rebounds, steals. I think they set a record for steals in an NCAA game at 14 or 15. And the emotion. He had his kid there. He had his parents there.
High five and the coach.
And he's like, I wasn't a D1 recruit, and I wasn't ACC material when I was coming out of high school. But coach took a chance on me, and I'm so glad he did.
Yeah.
It's those kind of emotional moments that you recognize what kind of life sometimes you gotta get through, or everybody goes through different things and some difficult things along the way. And teams go through difficult things during a season. But it's those reminders of what real life is about, but the sport kind of helping be that escape. That's why we love sports moments that you're going to get this entire tournament. Now, looking locally here in Ohio, because we got several teams here and we're going to kind of look at them each, but main one, of course, is OHIO.
That's right.
The Ohio State University. Chris Holtmann has this team raring to go. They're 21-9 through a juggernaut of a Big Ten schedule. Yes, they lost 4 in a row at the end of the regular season, but they win 3 games in 3 days. You got to play one less than 24 hours later against arguably probably the best team in the Big Ten. I know one other team, that team up north, is ranked a little bit higher, but I think Illinois actually is the best team in the Big Ten, with that team up north probably slightly behind them. To go through that kind of schedule, have a chance at a Big Ten championship in the toughest conference in all the country, be a 2 seed with still a great shot at making a deep run. There was someone on Twitter yesterday that was saying that even if Ohio State wins this game against that team up north, Chris Holtmann should be fired. And I said,
that's ridiculous.
I said, okay, I understand the end of the game, and Paulus was trying to egg me on, was trying to get Coach Kev riled up.
That's right.
I
was doing my best.
Trying to compare, he thought I was going to compare the football team giving up big leads and
that's
the
where my mind
team
went.
And trust me, I understand that. But different scenarios, because this team doesn't have the target on their back. They're not the cream of the crop like the football team is. They are trying to build a basketball culture at a football school, not vice versa.
Yeah.
And so this guy is saying that to fire Chris Holtmann. I'm like, okay, I understand it didn't look great, but it's still a 2 seed that has a chance at a championship, played well today, even if started like crap, but still had a chance at the end to win the game. Couple mistakes, ball bouncing the other way. They couldn't finish, but they are battle-tested and ready for the NCAA tournament. That is taking on the identity of a coach. This team is mentally tough, physical, and gritty, like you were talking about, Paulus. That kind of culture and ability to play the game of basketball, the identity on the court, starts with the coaching.
Yeah.
So this guy responded to me saying Chris Holtmann is average and a terrible recruiter. Average and terrible recruiting coaches are usually have their teams consistently on the bubble or kind of just squeaking into the tournament, not at this level. Now, Holtmann is going to have to continue this, whatever they do in the tournament, he's going to have to continue having Ohio State be this type of team, or because it goes year to year. So I'm not saying it won't become a problem in the future, but right now, that is a ridiculous argument to say fire Chris Holtmann, because I think Ohio State can make a deep run, at least to the second weekend. Where are you at with this team, Paulus?
With Ohio State, I mean, they just went battle-tested on, the last 3 days. I mean, they proved their worth. I think Chris Holtmann proved his worth. Once again, I'm not up to par with everything right now. Over the next couple of days is whenever I really take in everything. I mean, I won't sleep over the next probably 4 days, catching up on all of this and reviewing every bracket and reviewing every game that comes down. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of days. That being said, I think Ohio State played really well. especially today. Once again, against the number 1 seed, you took them to overtime.
Yes.
So you show that you've proved to yourself and to everyone in the country that you are legit. I mean, you took down a number 1 seed in Michigan the other day, and you were up big. Yeah, you were up big on them and almost lost it, but you held on to it. And like, I'm going to give you kudos for that. I'm going to give you kudos for being in this ball game, because it was not looking pretty at the beginning of the game. Once again, they started, I believe, 0 for 9. Shooting the 3 ball, finally got 1 of 10, and and then they made a couple more after that. Which, okay, cool. You're going to make that law of averages is going to show that you're going to make more than 1 for 10. But you got to keep shooting. You got to defend. You got to do a lot of things there for them. Ohio State, to me, proved their worth. Now, I am looking at the bracket here for us, and just to sort of jumpstart everything, because you know how I am. I am looking at Final Four brackets already. I'm already looking at Final Four teams. I'm going to say that there is a good possibility coming out of the South region with Ohio State that they can beat Baylor. They can. They proved that they've already beat a 1. They almost beat another 1 today. I think that they could do that. Now, coming out of the East bracket, down opposite corner of them, that looks wide open.
It does.
It looks wide open. What I would love to see, I'd love to see like a sleeper, out of there, come out. I'd love to see like Georgetown. Patrick Ewing led Georgetown. Let's see that one. So, I would love that.
The disrespect he got in Madison Square Garden. People not knowing who Patrick Ewing is.
So
That's
stupid. He's been there for a lifetime. He was there.
I'm not going to get us off topic, but I just need to get that out there.
And I'm glad that you brought that up. Out of the West region, I'm going to go with Ohio University, and out of the Midwest, I'm going to go with Cleveland State. So this is how this is going to go. We are going to have the first 12 seed, 15 seed, another 12 seed, and a 2 seed, all in the bracket. That's what I'm going with. How do you like my bracket?
It's going to be busted very early.
No. The Bobcats have it. The Bobcats can beat anybody. They'll beat Gonzaga. That's easy. They'll crush Gonzaga. And then obviously your Cleveland State, which we'll get to that here real quick. But yeah, Houston sucks. Clemson, all of those guys, West Virginia bums. They'll eventually face Illinois, and they'll crush Illinois. That's just how it goes. And then once again, out of that East region, anyone but Michigan, I'm cool with. And then that'll be the Final Four. And then may the best team win.
See, that team up north I'm not.
Do you think that they got a little favoritism?
I don't think so.
No?
I think they got a tough draw.
Okay.
Because Alabama is a arguably 1 seed caliber team.
I'd like them better if they had Colin Sexton.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe they'd win a little bit more than the Cavs do.
Sure.
With Colin Sexton on
Maybe.
Colin Sexton's good, but Cavs aren't winning. I'm not going to go there tonight. We're enjoying March Madness, not what's going on at the confines of Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. But Bama is legit 2 seed there. I mean, they're going to have a tough test, of course, assuming they get by their 1-16 matchup. They're going to have a tough test. If LSU beats the Bonnies of St. Bonaventure, but St. Bonaventure is always a mid-major that gives you fits anyways.
Right.
The 8-9 matchup there, I mean, LSU took Alabama to the brink in the SEC championship today. Those teams aren't scrubs. So that is a tough draw. Then you got Florida State. Leonard Hamilton, I think it's like 4 or 5 straight NCAA tournaments for him. Texas is a really good team. They just beat, America's darling, Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State.
Right.
Big 12 championship. They pretty much controlled that game the entire time. You got another Big 10 team in there, Maryland. Of course, Michigan State could get in.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to play one of those first 4 games. They got to beat UCLA before they can play BYU. BYU is a legit team. We talked about Gonzaga being legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, BYU got beat by Gonzaga 3 times this year. They kind of let off the gas a little bit in their conference championship against Gonzaga. BYU has got some shooters. They got some big men, and they got some guys that can shoot from deep. So that's guard play, ability to shoot the 3, and, of course, defending. You get those 3 elements together, you can make a run in this tournament. So I don't know that that team up north got a favorable draw, but
Sure.
who knows? Ohio State, they have the guard play. They get out of control sometimes. It's going to be, can they limit their mistakes? Can they be consistent throughout the game? You're going to turn the ball over. Teams are going to score. Can you limit the key mistakes? Today, E.J. Liddell has that turnover. When they're down one, he fakes the three. He wasn't shooting from three well today. Didn't have his legs at all. Got Coburn up in the air. Went to drive to the basket just like people were wanting him to do.
Right.
Lost control. And then Sewing tries to skip pass across to C.J. Walker for a three, and he thought he was going to slide down to the kind of the corner. He kind of stayed towards the top of the key right there at that wing, and another turnover. So that's 2 or 3 possessions. Illinois comes down and scores on you. Now they're up 3 or 5 in OT late. Pretty much seals it on you. Those key mistakes is what Ohio State's going to have to avoid. But you got Dwayne Washington Jr., who's a dog. C.J. Walker gets that team when he comes off the bench. He gets them going. E.J. Liddell is legit. And they got some other guys that are going to need to step up. They can't just have 2 or 3 guys scoring, though, like they did yesterday. It was just Dwayne Washington Jr. and E.J. Liddell finishing that game. Switching gears to my Vikings, as much as I want to agree with you that they can make a Final Four run,
Right.
they got the most difficult draw out of any team, that a mid-major team that could have an upset bid. Houston is one of those dark horse teams that could make a Final Four run. Like that's gonna be a tough out in their side of the bracket. They whooped out. I know Cincinnati's not as good as they have been in the past.
Sure.
They got beat by 40 today by Houston in that conference championship.
Right.
So I will say Cleveland State has a certain mindset about them that makes them dangerous at this time of the year. They have that guy, that dog in Trago Million, who was just dunking all over guys in the Horizon League tournament.
Yeah.
They have legit scorer in Torrey Patton, and they have a couple X factors coming off that bench. A big guy in Al Eichelberger who knocked down the banked in a 3 to send the game to one of the
It was triple overtime.
Yeah, triple overtime. First 3 of the season, but to tie that game up.
What a ballsy move, by the way.
I know. I know.
that right there, that takes some cojones.
Well, there's another X factor on that bench with Eichelberger.
Mm-hmm.
That is the sharpshooter Jason Woodridge out of Beechwood, Ohio.
Okay.
Covered a couple of his games when we were at OMS for the high school games. When he starts to feel it, he feels it, and he will pull up from anywhere, no matter how close a defender is to him or not. And he was the key in that semifinal. Started to get attention in the championship. So if he does come in the game, can't just start firing up. He's going to have to find within the confines of the offense, kind of knock down a couple, get that confidence going.
Right.
Once it's rolling, he's one of those guys that can get him knocked down. I'd love to go Hart in that game and say CSU. I don't know where I'm going yet. I haven't filled out my bracket, but Houston is legit, and that's going to be a tough matchup. Ohio, winning the MAC, beating up on Buffalo. They are legit to have a couple upsets in this tournament. The MAC teams always are. They're always battle-tested. Jeff Bowles, who was a shooting coach at Ohio State, I think he's always been there long-term, and finally getting his opportunity to be a head coach, and he was dancing and loving life in the locker rooms yesterday. Some fun down there at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse we haven't seen in a while. They got a legit chance there. Ohio State, if any team in Ohio is going to make a deep run, it's going to be Ohio State.
No doubt.
Now,
I mean, they got the horses.
They have the horses, and they are battle tested. Again, I know the end of the season wasn't great, and they can't play that way. But I'm not going to, rail on them like I did the football team because, again, different situations. They're trying to be on the coming up track.
Yeah.
Football team, and look at the level of the league, the level of the Big Ten. Football-wise, there were some decent teams this year.
Sure.
Ohio State was the class.
No doubt.
So some of those teams shouldn't have been coming back on them like they did. I think Ohio State ended the year kind of 3 of their last 4 opponents were in the top 5, top 10.
Yeah. Like I said, they beat a number 1 and they lost to a number 1 in overtime. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Now that they get out of conference play, you got that confidence. You have the battle test in the best conference there. you know you can compete with the best in the country because you already have the best of the best. So confidence riding sky high. Is there a dark horse that you see, or a team that you like to make a Cinderella style run, or a 12 or 13 seed that you kind of like in this tournament?
I mean, whenever it comes to something like that, I'm always going to go with my heart over, heart over brain, all the time. So
maybe I should too, because then I will stop losing a 7-year-old.
Whenever it comes down to it, like I loved what I saw from Ohio University in the MAC tournament. Cleveland State, once again, like battle tested teams. You win your conference. Like anything can happen at that moment in time. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Ohio University. I'm my sister was a Bobcat. I work with a couple of Bobcats, and Jordan Klimek and Mike Rizzo. So like I know that they're gonna love that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ohio Bobcats, and that'll be my sleeper team. They might get bounced in the first round by 40. Who knows? But I'm going to go with them as my sleeper. And I say sleeper to get to like the Sweet 16, win a couple of games.
If I'm going to do like a double-digit seeded team, I do like Georgetown.
Sure. I would love to see Georgetown do it. Yeah.
I maybe something about the disrespect that Patrick Ewing got.
Yeah.
In a house that he kind of controlled. He built, controlled for so long in the early 90s. One of the all-time great centers, great players in the NBA history. So, little chip on the shoulder that teams like that and from a prestigious basketball university like Georgetown can use. Some 4 seeds that I really like, though: Oklahoma State, Florida State.
So Cade Cunningham,
Cade Cunningham. He's already made his money. Like he's gonna be.
He's the number one.
He's the number one, but he can really put a stamp on that and separate himself from the rest of the field. And just keep running on past them. Doing like lapping them. If you're running a mile, just lap. He can do that. And something we missed out on last year for a guy like Obi Toppin, who was going to be, a top pick for Dayton. Cade Cunningham on a bigger stage. He's really going to show the country that hasn't been watching basketball to this point why people have been talking about him. Got 3 fouls early in that game, and that's kind of what led Oklahoma State to ultimately lose that because he wasn't available for them in the first half. Dude's legit.
In the NCAA tournament, that doesn't happen.
And he's so young and yet has such a calm demeanor to his game where he just lets it come to him. He's getting guys involved, and at the end of the game when it matters most.
I heard an interview that he had post game. It was after the win, and he was like, he even, what did he say? He said something along the lines of like, I know I'm the best guy in the conference. I know I'm the best out there. Just give me the ball and I'll do my thing. And I was like, to be 19 years old and know that you are easily the best player in America, not only your conference, but in America, and to just sort of relish that, and just be like, I love that. That's something that you can't teach that. Yeah. You absolutely can't teach that.
No, you either need a guy like that, or you need a guy like what we talked about with Cleveland State in Trago Million, Dwayne Washington Jr. for Ohio State, and thank you to Pat and Kent who tweeted at us, Jose Alvarado out of Georgia Tech.
Good call. Yeah.
That's their point guard, their 5'10" point guard. Like that guy that's been kind of pushed aside and overlooked for so long, and yet they got that New York playground style game in them, that mentality. Like, I'm not backing down anybody, and I'm just gonna go play. So it's gonna be interesting. I love this time of year, and it's gonna be fun watching March Madness again this year. Shout out to the boys over at Illegal Ham to the Face.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that. Yeah. Hey boys, what's up?
that fat guy, big man Bry, those guys over there, and of course my cousin Vinny. They always show us love, so show them love as well. Go ahead and listen to Illegal Ham to the Face. Sometimes they'll have some lives out at some local restaurants.
I was gonna say you were on one of them, right?
I was.
Well, it was a while back.
I was.
Have to get you back on there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, they said I was gonna be their basketball guru. I'm open.
March Madness, baby.
I'm open. Hey,
ain't no better time.
Always in triple threat. triple threat position, man. I'm ready to knock down that key three for you. So
there we go.
Hit us up, but hit them up as well. Switching gears to the team that always makes the most headlines in this town and the sport that still makes the most headlines over basketball majority of the year, and that is the Cleveland Browns in the NFL, as we have the legal tampering period starting, I believe, tomorrow.
It is.
The new league year starts on Wednesday.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Ooh, a lot of people are going to be drinking some green beer out there.
Yeah, so...
You ever have green beer?
No.
No?
No.
It's beer.
It's beer. It's one of those.
Beer. It's always good.
So what you're saying is when you first start out, it's just like, it's beer. But if you
drink enough of it, it becomes green beer.
But if you follow like St. Patrick's Day the way a lot of adults like to follow St. Patrick's Day, it could become like the best thing you've ever.
Easily.
As the day goes on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I have way too many St. Patrick Day memories. Peter?
You remember St. Patrick's Day?
Barely. Barely. I can guarantee you my wife remembers them. We won't go there. I love you, Kelly.
The Voice of the Land show reminds all of you out there to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but celebrate responsibly and always have a designated driver ready to go.
There we go.
And celebrate at a social distance. Your PSA is sponsored by voiceoftheland.com, where you can get all of your gear. I'm just working it in, just practicing. You know,
have to.
Those things are going to happen.
They will.
You.
They're
big guess
sooner than later.
Big guess, big things happening.
There we go.
We're not kidding this time. But Browns are going to be making some headlines, and I think the place we need to start with this is. It seems like they've made enough moves cap-wise, and they kind of have the most available cap while they kind of projected out cap from what it is. I think it went lower to 182.
182.5.
But theirs is like 211.
Yeah, because they had the carryover, so it's like a rollover.
The adjusted cap is what they call it.
I kind of feel like every time that they talked about the adjusted cap and everything like that, and I see Ham and Legal there for us, Jameson right out of the gate. You can party like that all you want.
They might be already started.
I ease into it with a little green beer and then kind of go whiskey after that. After that, but getting back into the Browns there for us. The adjusted cap rollover. Every time that I hear something like that, I always go like to the Michael Scott, like the lemonade stand. Like your mommy and daddy give you $10 for a lemonade stand. You only use $8 of those dollars. Now you can give $2 back, but they're only going to give you $8 next year. You get to keep the $2. Get the rollover sort of thing. So that's that's kind of how I view that.
Yeah. So out of the teams that kind of had adjusted caps, they have the most. Now the team with the most cap space, over 70 million.
Jets?
No, it's the Jaguars.
Jaguars, yeah.
And
I knew it was one of those crappy teams.
Watching sports, it's usually one of the crappy teams. You usually see a bunch of crappy teams.
Used to be us. Used to be us.
I'm glad it's not.
Right.
Oddly enough, the Colts, a playoff team, they have like the second most. And I think they're close to that $70 million mark too.
It's because they're not paying a quarterback, because the Eagles are paying a quarterback for them. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Fly, Eagles, fly to paying everybody else's quarterbacks. But with that money, we know that this defense needs work. Now, a guy that we are a big proponent of, Hollywood Higgins, hasn't been re-signed. I know that we would love to get that worked out. At this point, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
Looking at it now, and for both of you, what position or what player early on in free agency will kickstart this process to the best degree for you? Paulus, I will start with you.
We need a pass rusher opposite of Miles more than anything else on this roster. I truly believe that. Now, there's a lot of different ones out there that you could kind of go with. Like I've been seeing a lot of people saying, we need like John Johnson, the safety from the Rams, who, he hell of a player.
Yeah.
And whenever he's healthy, and he relatively is healthy, he played all 16 last year. He does a lot out there. But you do have Grant Delpit coming back. Now, you can view that as one of two ways. Grant has yet to step on the field, for an actual NFL game. So if you're still hesitant on that, maybe you want to spend money on John Johnson. I'm for that.
Right.
You can never have too many good to great defensive backs.
All the injuries they suffered last year too. You're going to need some depth.
Exactly. I mean, we don't need to see 23 back out there. You know, like we're going to avoid that at all costs, people.
There's only 123 I ever want to see back on a
That's right.
field space or court here in Cleveland, and that is not Andrew Sendejo.
That
That's
is
the last
not
time I'll
Andrew-
say his name.
That's right. That's right. But I mean, I would like to see that. But once again, I need a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to get me Carl Lawson, like, I'm all for that. I would like that, but that is going to be a pretty penny. That is going to be a lot of money going towards Carl Lawson. Now, can you justify that? Yes. I think you can, because if you pay him, I think he's like top 2 or 3 in the league at quarterback rushes. But he doesn't get to the quarterback a lot.
Right.
He's had 20 sacks over, his 4-year career, which not a lot. Okay. But he is playing in Cincinnati with a crappy defense. So they got to kind of manhandle him, double team him, whatever. He's not playing opposite of Miles. Okay. All the same points that we were making for JJ Watt to come here.
Yep.
We can make the same exact stuff for Carl Lawson. And he's like, I think 7 years younger than JJ Watt.
Right.
So to me, that makes sense. I would love to see Carl Lawson here. I know our buddy Tyler is a big Hassan Reddick guy. Hassan had, I think, 12 and a half sacks last year. He had like 5 in one game. It was crazy. But I don't know if that's something that he had 12 and a half last year. He has 20 for his career total, for his 4-year career total. So that means the other years he didn't do a whole lot. And it was that ball out, contract year. I don't know if I want that guy on my roster. I'd rather have the consistency of a Carl Lawson, even if you have to pay extra to get him. I would take that and then just build in the draft off of that. But Carl Lawson, is John Johnson, Joe John, yeah, John Johnson, yeah,
I think,
yeah, it's John Johnson there for us. Yeah, John Johnson. I would take those two over anyone else.
Peter?
I don't have any specific players in
Sure.
mind. I
Position,
know,
though?
Yeah. So, someone opposite of Miles, obviously, or linebacking core, because there just seems to be just a lack right there.
Sure.
I mean, how many times did we see, 4th and long, and the teams, we just don't, there's no one there. That's,
27 of 32 times.
Yeah. Is that what?
Yeah.
Is
That's
that
how
what
many
it was?
times. That's how many times teams converted 4th down against the
God,
Bucks.
that's even sadder.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is
Is
a
that
lot.
bad? it's not good.
No, it's not good.
I haven't confirmed it, but it's at least one of the worst in NFL history since that stat was kept.
Ooh. Yeah, so
Sorry, Peter. I didn't mean
no. You actually, that's great because you just
Making its point.
Yeah, you're making my point for me. We desperately need someone
Yes.
there that is, if we get that through free agency or through the draft, I don't care where it comes from.
Right.
We just need someone that can step up and do it.
And to Peter's point, like, I know that they have a lot of linebackers on the team right now that they view as up and coming. Like Taki, he made strides this year. Like we got to give Taki his props. Jacob Phillips, I mean, rookie, but without the knee injury, he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good this year.
Came on as the year went on.
Right. Mac, I think, devalued himself. Like, I think that, his injury at the beginning of the year, I think it was a knee injury as well, really hamstrung him like the entire year. So I really don't know how to view him. But to your point, Peter, I think that you need to bring in like a veteran linebacker. Doesn't have to be top dollar, but someone in there that can, sort of control the room. Because I think BJ Goodson he was a free agent. He signed a 1-year deal.
Right.
I don't think he's going to be coming back. So you need someone to fill that void.
You do. I don't know that BJ Goodson will be one of those first couple of days or first week. So,
Right.
maybe
he comes back on the cheap.
if he stays on the market longer, maybe somebody you can bring back, because that's kind of a unsung hero guy that you can look to for leadership vocally, or at least by how he plays on the field. That's what this defense needs, and that's what that linebacking core needs, or just defense in general. We talked about it when we mentioned J.J. Watt. Now, I'm not paying that kind of money for a guy like J.J. Watt that Arizona paid. You know, congratulations, you got J.J. Watt. You paid all that money. It's a lot of up front because you know where his career is at this point.
Right.
But someone like that, a veteran that's been around, and it doesn't have to be a long-term career, someone that has had an impact since they stepped on a football field and they've had some winning success and they know what it's going to take to get to that next step, that next level that we know this Browns team will be capable of and will have expectations set at next year. There's no more of this moral victory or, look, this team is already a year ahead of schedule. They beat the Steelers in the wild card game, and they took the eventual conference champs, defending Super Bowl champs before this Super Bowl this year. They took them to the wire, and they had a chance to still beat them if we could have gotten Baker back on the field. So I'm happy with how the season went. There's no more of that next year. Now, I kind of took a little bit of a different stance to that. That's in the past, though. No more of that. You're going to need someone to tie all of this together. In the linebacking core, we mentioned we got names that do some things well, but not everything. If you want them to be in the proper role and be in their proper supporting role, you may need a leader in that room. I'm with you guys, though. And I'm kind of more on Peter's side than I am with you, Paulus, in terms of name versus position. First couple days of the first week of free agency, I need someone of opposite Miles or someone that can get to the passer, that can, kind of exploit those double teams and triple teams that Miles gets, allow or force teams to come off of that, allow Miles to go one-on-one a little bit more,
right,
and open things up for him. Not just for yourself, but for him and others along that line where numbers are going to inflate. Someone that had their numbers inflate because they were opposite of a great player. Down there in New Orleans, Trey Hendrickson, if you're looking for cheaper options to try to get a linebacker, cornerback, and pass rusher, all for that cap space you have available, he might be someone on the cheap to get that had inflated numbers. People think he's a flash in the pan. But the people saying he's a flash in the pan because he was opposite Cam Jordan, you can make the same argument because he's going to be opposite someone better in Miles.
I was going to say, you can make that argument anywhere you want.
Anywhere you want. But it's not necessarily the name.
Yeah.
It's about, and we trust Andrew Berry now from what we saw him do with the offense.
100%. Yeah. No doubt.
Find the guy that fits the culture you have now established here in Cleveland, but opposite Miles to wreak havoc from both sides.
Yeah.
Because if it can start up front, then that can filter to the next two levels of your defense and make it that much more potent.
Right.
And we're not dealing with 27 of 32 fourth down conversions against you.
That will never happen again.
Chad freaking Henne running almost 3rd and 14 for a first down.
Got to 4th and 6 inches.
And made it real easy for a mastermind like Andy Reid to call a little, read with, or an option route with Tyreek Hill, the fastest guy in the field.
Yeah.
That's going to be converted 9.99 out of 10 times.
It was a pitch and catch. It was easy, simple, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Could have had him for a 4th and 14 or at worst a 4th and 9 to force him to punt, and you couldn't do it.
Right.
Those things need to be taken care of with this defense.
Yeah.
Any other names or any other position that you like, or should the other focus be Baker because Drew Brees, one of the all-time greats, just retired today, and New Orleans gave
Taysom Hill.
What was it? 4 years?
4 years, $140 million. But it's all, believe me, I get that. It is all voidable though. So the point behind that, the numbers are astronomical. You look at it. What did you say? It was like 35 a year.
Yeah, 35 a year.
35 a year. Okay, that's a lot of money. He's getting paid 35 a year. Dak's getting paid 40 a year. Mahomes 45, I believe, a year. So Mahomes, does whatever he wants, and that's fine. That's Mahomes. He can be Mahomes.
Yeah.
But the other guys, whenever you view Baker's contract situation coming up, that's a lot of money. That is a hell of a lot of money. But the thing is that you finally got a guy that you can rely on. He started every single game, that he has been a part of.
Yeah.
He's broken so many streaks for us.
He
You know,
does.
he went from 0-16 to playoffs in 3 years with 3 different, or technically 4 different head coaches. Okay. And he got us to the playoffs, won a playoff game, his very first playoff game, destroying Pittsburgh, breaking the 17-year drought there. Pay him whatever you want. You know, like, if it's me personally, I'm saying I don't care. I'll say, and I know it's easy. It's not my freaking money. Okay, I get that. But Baker has balled out. Okay, if you trust what you saw, you know, if you trust what you saw the final 8 games, you know, last year, if you think that that's what is going to happen, which I personally do think it's going to happen, pay him. Because at this point in time, a couple of years from now, after the NFL signs a $100 billion TV deal, it's going to go skyrocketing. The cap situation is going to go crazy. We're going to be able to sign all of these guys and then some at a certain point in time. So sign Baker now before he gets too expensive. Because if he goes out there and balls out this year, even better than 26-8, you know, TD to interception ratio goes. Let's say he goes 4,000 yards, which he hasn't done yet.
Yeah.
30 touchdowns, which I think he'll have more, honestly. And then, you know, 10 or below interceptions. That is going to command a better, you know, a bigger number. Now you're playing with fire. You're doing exactly what Dallas screwed up on. Right. Dallas should have paid Dak the 30, I think it was 33 or 34 million that he wanted last year and just be done with it. Now they owe him 40, you know, like per year.
Yeah.
Just pay the guy. Pay the guy, get it done over with. That way we can stop talking about all of this. Because if you lock up your quarterback, you locked up him, you locked up Myles Garrett. Honestly, after that, put people around him because they will be able to win. Consistently win. If you have great coaching, a great quarterback, and a great pass rusher, odds are you're going to be a pretty damn good team. Just do it.
Year in and year out.
Exactly.
Man, we're talking about all this money. I'm just waiting for that stymie and the tax return to hit my bank account.
Dude, I can't wait for that. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
any plans with it?
Wedding.
Oh,
wedding and like bills, student loans,
sure.
that type of stuff. You know.
Peter?
Smart. I know. I'm boring.
I don't get one.
Oh.
Rough.
Ouch. Yeah.
My wife does, though.
Well, you don't get one. Though. like your wife gets it, you won't see that money.
Oh, well,
is that one of those? Don't you like we? Get
my
this?
money is your money, sort of thing.
The problem is, since she works for the schools, she's got a thing with her student loans.
Okay.
So
Right. Okay.
We have to file separately.
Okay.
You know, so because of that, the kids are on my taxes, so
Okay.
I get nothing. We get nothing for the kids.
Oh man.
And I make too much, so I get nothing. She gets it, so it's like, yeah, it's there. It's basically
So Uncle Joe didn't help you out, huh?
no. But we're getting, we're doing work on the house and stuff like that. So
Okay.
we got plenty of things to spend that on.
I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do ours on. We always, every year we take a little vacation, you know, for our not honeymoon, for our anniversary weekend in June. I think we're going to be pushing that to July there for us, but that's still going to happen.
But
That's
the vaccines a little bit more.
Yeah, more than not. Yeah.
Okay.
We typically always do that, but that normally comes out of our, federal, income tax. That's what we do for that. You know, the $1,400, stimmy that we're going to be getting. I don't know what we're doing with that yet. So her birthday's coming up. I know that she wants to get a tattoo. I think I'm going to be getting a tattoo as well. So
get a big tattoo for $1,400.
Get a pretty damn good one too. Yeah. That's a couple hours worth. So
I already got my birthday gift.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
It's a piggy bank, but it's an Iron Man Infinity Stone gauntlet.
Dude, that's dope.
And it looks.
Put a picture out there of it.
I will.
Okay.
Let me post it from my Twitter,
Hell
the
yeah.
show Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll retweet it. We'll get it out there for sure.
I'll take a picture when I get home. I kind of been like holding it back, but the fiance isn't not big on secrets and stuff. So
Sure.
she's like, your present came today, like 2 weeks before your birthday.
Right.
You gotta open this.
Do you-
I was like, I want to wait. Like, I want the surprise.
Right.
She's planning something else that I don't know
Okay.
about, like something
Yeah.
big that's free. So it's kind of helping her out.
Good.
But
There we go.
she's like, I got this little gift for you. Open it up. And I was like, I'm so glad I did.
Right.
It is sick. I'm telling.
Nice.
I'll send you guys a picture first.
Hell yeah.
And then I'll post it out there.
For sure.
But we'll see. If I'll be in the doghouse though if I put that stymie towards shoes.
Right.
There's some nice shoes at work right now.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Not yet.
No, I need my shoes. I have a problem. I'm a man and I have a problem buying shoes. But talking about money, just to wrap everything up, because I know we were talking about Baker. I know you're not getting the stymie there. You're not getting money.
Right.
But we did get one last question here from Jared, the fat guy over there at Legal Ham to the Face. You said that pay him now.
Yeah.
Peter, real quick, do you risk it and wait till next year and just pick up that option, or pay Baker now?
You know what? I kind of think this is where the Browns need to do what the Indians do, and they need to try and sign him long term, and have faith that he's going to produce.
Right.
I mean, it
I was
sucks
going to say,
because
are you not going to sign him?
Well,
yeah, that's the Indian typical move.
If he brought the enjoy him line out,
Right.
I was going
no,
to be like, done. This is over.
enjoy him while he's here.
I got something to deal with Peter in the
No, I mean, but
we may or may not be back.
yeah,
next
well,
time.
typically the Indians do sign
They
their
locked
young,
up
their
Jose.
young players.
Yeah.
They lock them up. The problem is they
do it on the cheap.
they're on the cheap.
Right.
Exactly. That's the nicest way to put it.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can put it.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is Browns do it when it's probably the cheapest it will be.
And the bigger thing, though, is that, and obviously the biggest difference between these teams is that one has a salary cap and one doesn't. The Indians can go as cheap as they want to because there's no salary cap floor, which is ridiculous in the MLB, but we'll save that for a different day. But the Browns, like you actually have, all of this money. Like, you got to spend it, And I think for the Browns, I think that Baker will eventually. Baker's going to be here. Okay, this isn't going to be. I don't think that this is going to turn into a scenario of like a Dak Prescott scenario. I don't see that happening. Dak deserved that money. Dak deserved that money. He got that money. I think the same's going to be said for the Browns. Now, they don't have to do anything right now.
Right.
But I would preferably have it be done this year before the season starts. Just get it all wrapped up, set in stone. But if they have like a backdoor deal with him and say, hey, Baker, we're going to keep you on the cheap for one more year, and then we're going to sign you to set amount of money, I'm okay with that too. We'll never know that, but I just want him signed now. Just be done with it.
I just think all-encompassing for all reasons involved, you sign him now.
Yeah.
You get that taken care of, then you don't have issues between player, agent, and team, and guys holding out and causing all of those fractions that, with teams that have a chance to have long-term success, break down real quick because of these kind of negotiations. You let them drone on too long, then you you fracture that relationship with the player and their agent, and then everything falls apart a lot quicker than you want it to or what you've established.
No doubt.
Setting up for the future. And with that TV money you mentioned, Nick Padone, our fellow Big Play family member and friend of the show too, he kind of agrees with you, and I do too. I mean, when NFL gets with Amazon and goes with all that, things are gonna balloon. You kind of want to take care of that now. And everybody watching, of course, also tune into our buddy Nick Padone. Padone, My Take, Wednesday nights. I believe
Fantastic show.
Fantastic show. I believe it's at 8:00 on Wednesday nights. And then he also joins Chris McNeil and the creator of Big Play, Dave, Big Play Dave, of course, on the Reflog show Monday nights at 9. You guys can always catch them live as well. Shout out to all of our Big Play family members out there. But that is going to wrap it up. It was a jam-packed show, jam-packed in an hour, a little bit more, but,
we'll play with that.
We'll play with it. Yeah, we're working on it. Don't worry. And we got some big things coming up in the future, but that is going to wrap it up. Everybody enjoy filling out those brackets. If you want to take some time, look it over. If you've already got it filled out, more power to you. Just, if your bracket busts, my last piece of advice before we leave tonight, if your bracket busts this year and it goes up in flames, just enjoy it, because you enjoy the simple things, the things you forgot about, the little things that you forgot about. We saw how big the important things are last year. hold on to those little things, because those are the little things are what help you go a long way in life and help ease the stress that we all know that we all go through in different ways in the game that we call life. But for my brother Nick Paulus and our producer extraordinaire Peter Tellep, I am Kevin Arnold, reminding all of you sports fans out there, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. Good luck on your brackets. Please don't get beat by children in your bracket pools or people
Avoid that at all costs.
People picking based on color or just throwing darts at a wall. And we truly love you all. 3,000. We will see you all next week. A big show for you. A guest and UFC preview, UFC 260 preview next week. So be sure to tune in Sunday at 7 here on the Big Play Network. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.